Welcome to Mi Keamcha Yisrael. In Parashat Yitro, as Klal Yisrael arrives at Har Sinai, the Torah uses an unusual word. Instead of saying they encamped, vayachanu, the Torah says vayichan sham Yisrael, and Bnei Yisrael encamped there. Singular. Rashi immediately asks, why singular? And he answers with the words we all know, ki echad, belev echad, like one person with one heart. However, Rashi does something subtle and powerful. He points us backward. Just one parasha earlier, when the Egyptians chased Bnei Yisrael, the Torah again uses a singular language. They pursued as one. Same grammar, same unity, and yet two opposite worlds. The Egyptians were unified by fear, by hatred, and by agenda. Klal Yisrael at Sinai was unified, not around a mission, but around each other, which leads to a penetrating question. What comes first, unity or love? The Torah's answer is Har Sinai. Unity can coexist without love. Love cannot exist without unity. Egypt shows unity for a goal. Har Sinai shows unity as a family, and Borei Olam waits for the second. Because the Torah doesn't rest on alignment of interests, it rests on an alignment of hearts. And that distinction between unity driven by agenda and unity born of compassion is not theoretical. It appears in moments of authority, moments when people are right, moments when no one would fault them for being harsh. That is where Har Sinai is tested. Allow me to share a fabulous story. There was once a great Jewish city in Germany, Hamburg, a city of Torah, of refinement, of communal responsibility. At its head stood the Rosh HaKehillah, a man of stature, of wisdom and moral clarity. Serving that city was a shochet, a true Yirei Shemayim, trusted and respected, and for years his shechitah was impeccable. Then one day an issue arose, not in kashrut, not in shechitah, but in another area of personal conduct. In that era, communal standards were held with uncompromising seriousness. The leaders gathered, they examined the facts, and they reached a conclusion: he could no longer serve. Halachically, the decision was correct, but the Rosh HaKehillah stood up and said something unexpected. If this man is dismissed publicly, if his name is shattered, he will lose more than his livelihood. He'll lose his dignity. He pleaded, he reasoned, and he argued. But the decision stood, and now the Rosh HaKehillah faced a choice. He could say, as we all have said, I tried. Or he could protect a human being. So he went to the shochet privately, and he said the following: my friend, you cannot remain here, but you will not leave broken. The shochet said quietly, I see no further future for me here in Europe. You know what? I'll try to go to America. The Rosh HaKehillah replied, then listen to me carefully. Your dismissal will never be publicized. There will be no whispers, no humiliation. We'll make it look as though you chose to leave. A farewell gathering was arranged. The whole community came. Speeches were delivered, not of suspicion, but of gratitude. People cried. They blessed him. To everyone present, this was a man leaving with his honor intact. Before he departed, the Rosh HaKehillah pressed the money into his hand and said, go, build a future. Many years passed. The shochet rebuilt his life in America, and then the world collapsed. In 1938, Austria fell. Vienna descended into terror. Jews were trapped, desperate, hunted, and without an escape. Among them were the very children and the descendants of the Rosh HaKehillah who once protected that shochet. They had one name, one hope. Letters were sent, dozens, hundreds, and one telegram came back. I remember your father, and I remember what he did for me. I will do everything that I can. That shochet signed guarantees. He used influences. He persuaded others. And because dignity that had once been preserved, lives were now saved. Children lived. Generations were born. Ladies and gentlemen, that community didn't unite to fight an enemy. They were not driven by fear, and not by survival, and not by agenda. They chose compassion over convenience, humanity over expedience, and above all, kavod over control. And that choice echoed across decades, because Borei Olam doesn't rest his Shekhinah where people merely stand together. He rests it where hearts are aligned, where truth is carried with gentleness, where authority is tempered by mercy, and where love precedes purpose. Every generation stands again at Har Sinai, not with thunder and not with fire, but with a quiet, sacred decision. Will we unite for a cause, or will we unite as a family? And if we choose second, then even our smallest acts become transcendent. our dignity becomes redemptive, and our lives become eternal, because that's exactly how Torah is received. And that, my friends, is exactly how Torah endures. Mi Keamcha Yisrael. Shabbat Shalom u'Mivorach.